Hey, what's going on, church family? It's Sean Shetler here, and I have an awesome discussion I want to share with you today. And first off, I want to start off with Romans chapter 4, verse 3. And Abraham believed God, and it was credited to him as righteousness. So the reason for the video today is that my professor, Dr. Brian Gamble, asked us to answer in the discussion board the prompt, which is, did God abandon Jesus on the cross? Why or why not? And so I'm going to go and read some of the responses from the discussion. Bauckham defines being forsaken not as a rupture in the Trinity, but as God allowing the suffering to take place without intervening. Bauckham, pages 255 through 257. This understanding preserves the unity and integrity of the Godhead while acknowledging the real and profound suffering that Jesus endured on the cross. I agree wholeheartedly that the abandonment of Christ on the cross does not imply a broken Trinity. Instead, it reveals the mystery of God's redemptive plan, where divine love is expressed through allowing suffering for a greater purpose. As Jesus said in John 10:18, "No one takes it from me, but I lay it down on my own accord," showing his willing submission to the Father's will. Additionally, Romans 8:32 reminds us, "He who did not spare his own son, but gave him up for us all," highlighting God's sacrificial love that through his suffering. Romans 4:1 through 8 provides further insight into God's gracious work in justification and faith, and the Apostle Paul points to Abraham's example to show that righteousness is credited by faith, not by works, or earning wages, as we read earlier in verse 3. Abraham believed God, and it was credited to him as righteousness. Verses 4 through 5 emphasize that one who works does not receive grace as a gift, but as something owed, whereas the one who trusts God's promise is counted righteous apart from works. Verses 6 through 8 affirm the blessedness of the person whose sins are forgiven and who is declared righteous by God's mercy. This passage reminds us that God's plan of salvation, though it involved Jesus' suffering and apparent abandonment, is ultimately an act of grace, mercy, and faithfulness. More importantly, Jesus' declaration in John 10:30, "I and the Father are one," affirms the unbroken unity between the Father and the Son, even in the midst of the cross. This verse underscores that while Jesus experienced real abandonment in his human suffering on the cross, there was never, ever at any point a rupture in the divine relationship. Their oneness remained perfect and eternal, showing that the crucifixion was not a moment of divine separation, but a profound divine solidarity with humanity. This truth is foundational for understanding the depth of God's love and the mystery of the incarnation. I'm reminded of the verse that says, "Yet while we were still sinners, Christ died for us." This perspective challenges simplistic views and it invites us to embrace a more profound and faithful understanding of God's presence in suffering. It's always a pleasure to engage with the class on these deep theological questions. Thank you for providing reflection and comment on the conversation and prompt. Blessings, Sean Shetler.